What it is, y'all, it's your old boy Pilk, and I'm back with another DANMACHI episode review. Today we're reviewing episode 4 of season 4 of the show, and this was actually a pretty respectable episode. We got a little bit more action than we've had in the past episode. There were some faults and some good stuff here and there. First things first, I unfortunately have not had, because of personal time, had time to catch up in the light novel, so I'm a little bit behind. So I will not be doing major comparisons to the light novel in this episode. I do plan to catch up, so then episode 5 we can do that. But unfortunately, we'll be free of that. Now, a lot of you guys have asked for comparisons of it. So I think once we finish each novel, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back and I'm actually going to cover each specific novel and the differences between each one. But for now, let's just jump into the episode and enjoy, unfettered, I guess you could say, episode 4 for what they gave us in the anime in the Raw. And basically, as you guys remember last time, they did start off with a recap. It wasn't a long recap, it was a nice recap. Belle's in this new chamber, way down lower in the dungeon, few levels lower in the dungeon, and he runs into Murray, our new little Xenos mermaid girl. So they have this cute interaction. She literally, the scene behind me, literally glomps him. And, they instantly start, you know the Xenos. Oh, you are a Xenos. You know these people. They know that people. You know, it's clear that she is associated with the rest of the Xenos, but not necessarily, like, able to travel with them for obvious reasons. She kind of has to stay in and around the water. In fact, that actually comes to a head here later on in the episode when Belle literally has to pick her up and run with her, and she's like, this is fun. Whee! Which was a fun little take on the motion there. But basically, the long and the short of it, you find out that she has this incredible healing power. Belle even mentions, like, mermaid blood is an incredible healer. She bites her finger and is like, basically has him, like, drink her blood and boom, healed. So it's a hilarious moment because it really does not look well. You get to, like, see a lot of, like, I mean, let's be real. There's enough of the perverse humor in these in the series in and of itself, and it's a fun interaction. It's not enough to distract from the overall story. It's a very just fun interaction from. I mean, he's a 14-year-old boy. I mean, what would the 14-year-old boy think about? It is what it is. But he's fully healed, and basically they're figuring out. Okay, Belle's party is further up in the dungeon. She's even like, I don't like it here. We gotta go. And so they're trying to find a way to get out of the dungeon. But this is when most of the action, the vast majority of the action, in fact, really happens between the party as they're trying to escape. And really the long and the short of it is they are kind of cornered. Really, they're not even kind of cornered. They're absolutely cornered by the Moss Huge. And in a moment that really shows the cunning of the monster. And I wasn't really sure where he was going with this, because he does, the Moss Huge does basically turn a corner. There's a bunch of the blue crabs, and, he has to consume, or his goal at least, is to consume the iris, the magic stones that you drop when they die. So it's like, what's going to happen here? But then, obviously, he basically parades all the blue crabs in on our party. And they're doing a good job. They're fighting him off. Even Aisha, at one point, is like, I thought I was going to be, like, I thought for certain that I would be handling the situation, and that they would basically be, like, I would be carrying. And, the party holds their own. In fact, Mikoto has a great moment where she, like, slices one of the monsters in two, because she's like, look, if this thing goes any further, it's going to crush people down the trail. So for the sake of Mikoto and all the others, she just shows off her new skills, which was awesome. I love that moment. So a lot of characters in the show, like Welf has a moment. Even Oka has a great moment of heroism. In fact, it was that same scene where he's standing in the way and Mikoto like jumps in front of him and was like, "Hata!" It was really cool. I really, really, really enjoy seeing more than just the Belle interaction. I like seeing what the party is doing. But if you watch the episode, you know that basically they go back and forth between the monsters, and the monsters basically corner him at some point. And I can only imagine that the Moss Huge is somewhere between, yes, he wants to corner them, but also you see like the litter of the stones all over the ground. I'm sure he's like, well, get them, I'll get their stones, and I'll clean up all these stones. And it's a perfect situation for him. It's a really, really, really good situation for the Moss Huge. Not so much for our adventurers. I'll say that. But the episode leaves off. Basically, Belle picks up Marie, has to escape a monster on their end. Remember, he's carrying her, and they're running, and she's all like, wee! And the Moss Huge has our party completely surrounded, and Aisha's like, okay, cool. We got to do this thing. But we really can't let anybody know about Haruhime's power. So she literally, she asks the other party that's with him, because remember the dwarves and the elves or whatever are with him. And she even asks him, she's like, okay, you're about to see a thing, but you have to swear not to tell anybody about it. But she asks him in such a manner as, having that giant sword of hers basically held to their faces. Well, there's no basically about it, it is. So it's like, yeah, she's asking, but she's not asking. She's politely telling you to shut up. So, as any rational human being would, they're like, yeah, cool. Do what you're going to do. I'm going to just see no evil. And right before it can happen, episode ends, as I'm assuming you can kind of surmise. Either Belle's going to emerge from the wall, which is what I think is going to happen. I don't think they're going to use Haruhime's power yet, but once again, I've not gotten to the light novels. I don't know. I could be completely wrong in that one. Kind of a predictable situation. And Amori kind of tends to travel a thin line between the predictable and the unpredictable. So who knows? Maybe Haruhime does her thing. I kind of feel like we're going to have to wind up, Belle's going to have to wind up using that against the Moss Huge. And if you've watched the opening, everybody winds up fighting the Moss Huge at some point. So maybe that's maybe that's the moment here. Once again, I'm a little behind in the light novels, unfortunately, so I don't know. So it's a fun speculation. One of the things I do like about watching the series without having the light novels, sometimes it's more fun because you do get to speculate, like what's going to happen. What's going to happen next? I know some people know. Please, remember guys, no spoilers in the comments. Please do not post any light novel spoilers in the comments. It's incredibly rude to the people watching the anime. But, I don't know, we'll see. I'm psyched for the next episode. I'm really, really hyped. I'll say this. The episode, all in all, was an easy 8. There were some rugged moments. And I've said that for JC Staff, as far as their animation goes, they're usually really good with the first part, and then it starts to peter off a little bit. And in this episode, you really did begin to see it at some point. There were a couple moments where, especially the Moss Huge himself, lost a lot of texture. I will say in this, I guess this season, they've relied a lot of CGI texture. There's been a lot of CGI textures and things like that. And if they don't have time to render it out or whatnot, then we start to get some lazy animation. And there were some moments here where I felt like the animation was pretty lazy. They didn't properly use motion. They just literally, slid characters in 2D fashion into things. And this is the kind of stuff that I really hate to see because it's a franchise that deserves better, frankly. So animation-wise, I'm going to give it a 6 out of 10. And I know it might be a bit harsh, but I expect better, and I think the franchise deserves better. I'm not going to ask every single anime to be made by MAPPA. They just simply can't. But they're not even perfect either. But I kind of feel like this episode it deserved a better treatment of the animation than it really received. That's my one big gripe here. But the action was on point. The story was fantastic. I do love the fact you get more characters. So overall, I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10. But in the animation department, it's an absolute 6. And once again, maybe you disagree. Maybe that feels a little harsh. My criticisms do tend to be harsh, but I thought it was just barely north of passing. And that's mostly because the vast majority of the time, your stuff with Belle and Marie were fantastic. But the stuff with the party and the stuff, especially when Marie was in the water, I love the CGI effects on the water. But, rendering particles can be done in Adobe After Effects and things like that. It's not a difficult thing to do. I've done it myself on AMVs. It's not a hard thing to do. Getting water to look right when it splashes up against a body, that's different. You have to basically draw the outlines. You have to layer things over it. and I think that they could have done things better in that regard. If you want me to do full animation breakdowns of these, let me know in the comments. I'll pick my favorite scenes and stuff like that. I think that'd be another really fun thing to do. But, all in all, that was really my only gripe, if I'm totally honest here. Thought story-wise was fantastic. Once again, I can't fully say much about the adaptation, but I really did enjoy this episode. Let me know what you guys thought in the comments section down below. Sorry, I'm a little under the weather. My brain isn't quite where it normally is, so I'm maybe rambling a little bit. But we'll be back next week with episode 5. I'm psyched for that. Let me know if you are as well. Like, comment, and make sure you guys share this out to any other fans of the series. And I'll see you guys next week for episode 5.